Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Thursday Night Live.
Our sad.
Hi, guys.
Hey.
Hello. Welcome to Thursday Night Live.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, as you guys can see, we have a special guest tonight joining us here at the circus. But before we get into talking to Miss Misty, just to letting you guys know, coming up, words. When is it? Next
weekend. Next Sunday. I think it's the 18th.
It is the 18th. Thank you for the date.
Yes.
So the Mystical Market, the local gig, is going to be the 18th. I will English in a minute.
We're so excited, guys.
It's been a week, and we've been looking forward to this.
Really?
But the 18th, it's going to be a back to school kind of deal. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff for the children's, and from college all the way to kindergarten. There's going to be special stuff going on if you are in school. So come out, check it out, be a part of things. We're going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of other people there, like Miss Joni Kahn and, Miss Joanna Dickey, Mr. Ken Boggle. There's going to be a bunch of people there doing things. A bunch of vendors doing their thing, like Miss Deb Hudson. I believe she's going to be back. And, of course,
Yes,
April. Good. And of course, April with Druzy does it as well. So plenty of vendors, plenty of stuff. And stay tuned because there's going to be some really awesome things happening with the local gig soon, from what I understand. So looking forward to that. I don't know if we have anything else.
Missing Elements hats.
Shit, that's where we're at, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. We're at the Missing Elements, 1018 East Buffalo Road, Lexington, Kentucky, 40505. Hey, you should have been watching Tuesday night.
Oh no.
She lost it on me. But with my intro, she lost it.
I did. It was beautiful. It was magnificent. And then I started talking about dirty mermaids and stuff. but
announcement. Miss Joanna Dickey's going to be here at the shop doing an intro to shamanism and a shamanic journey on September 14th or September 21st from 12:30 to 1:30. If you're interested, email her at woundedhealerkentucky@gmail.com. And the cost is just a donation.
Yeah. Joanna's stuff's pretty awesome. It's really awesome doing a journey with her.
Oh, yeah.
Also, if you are a veteran or know veterans who are in need of some assistance in a spiritual manner, Joanna is currently doing a project for soul retrievals for those who are veterans with PTSD. So if you would like to talk to her about that, you can email her at the same place. You can also get a hold of me at spiritmechanics.com here on Facebook or through the Missing Elements.
Yeah, through the Missing Elements. Me and Joanna are trying to work together to where I do sound healing along with her soul retrieval.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm down for that.
So,
alrighty. Is that it?
That's it for me.
Guys, we get to talk to Misty now.
You're so excited. Hey, you're more excited than my bill collectors trying to get money out of me.
We get Meemaw time. We get Meemaw time. It's story time with Meemaw.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, if anyone saw the Thursday Night Live flyer for tonight, it was made just for her with the egg and the hard candy on it.
Oh, I gotta tell you, I don't know what is going on with my hard candy cravings lately. I guess I'm not getting the supply. I don't know. I made people go out and buy me bags of hard candy recently. It's Meemaw's heart, you know.
I didn't get to come to the market, so I didn't get to sneak it over to your table.
That's what it was. I was missing you. I looked over and I was like, where'd all your people go? Normally y'all have people swarming. And I was like, where'd they all run off to? I feel like they all ran off in relationships. They got to bring them women on around so we could just all still hang out together.
Oh no, I was working 24 hours that weekend.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot.
I worked 8 hours on Saturday and I worked 16 on Sunday.
Good Lord. You know, I say that's a lot, but when y'all were talking about your markets and stuff, when you drive to markets, set up, do energy work all day, then drive all the way home. I mean, all of y'all put in hours like that a lot of times, and we do too, man. And it's just something about it. You must have a job that's very rewarding then, to be able to.
I work in a nursing home.
There you go. There you go. It's that healing energy. People don't realize those types of individuals need more healing than anybody, you know? And it takes a gifted person to do it, you know?
Well, they like me there, so.
Good.
Well,
good.
at
If
least,
they didn't,
you know, old people like me.
Yeah, well, that's good. If they didn't, that means you must be pushing them down their wheelchairs or something like that. Yeah.
Don't tell all my secrets, God.
I would be horrible. I would be horrible at a nursing home. I'd be like, listen, Ethel, you shit your pants one more time, I'm going to make you sit in it for a long time. Or then I'd be like, I just take one of their crutches or just one of their walkers. Yeah. I would be horrible. I would be horrible.
Fuck you, hobble.
Yeah. You better learn to
Shorten
hop.
their cane by like a foot, so it's like way down here.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt them. It's just going to make them miserable.
You know.
Yeah.
I know. I'd be like, I'm trying to help you with physical therapy. You got to move a little bit to get this walker, Ethel.
That's it. You got to move.
I joke about that, but seriously, I would never leave. I would have a bed right beside them, you know, just like rubbing on them and everything. It'd take my soul. It really would, because it takes a strong person, I believe, you know, to do that kind of work. So I commend you know.
It's a job, and a lot of people aren't cut out for it.
Mm-mm.
Exactly, Ethan.
I'm not. Just like, don't give me a daycare. I'll throw those babies.
Ethan says, make one side of the walker shorter than the other.
I mean, the
Well,
worst I would
shorten
say is
the
take
front.
tennis balls
You
off
shorten the
of it.
front so they fit forward like this already.
Or just take
Whatever
one of their
happens,
tennis
happens.
balls. So the one don't get traction. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'll
do
see
have
them
a
take
first
those
question
stupid
of the
things
night.
off
It'd be like a
themselves.
horse with a lame leg. Anyway.
So
That is horrible. Gosh. If I ever get to a nursing home and that stuff happens, I expect people to be mean to me, because I'm going to be a crotchety old woman that probably tries to hit on all the younger interns. I would be like, you know, come on over here and give grandma a sponge bath. You know, I would be.
They have those there. I swear to God, they do.
I know they do. They're probably like, come on in here, handsome, give me that hard candy and a sponge bath. You know, I hope none of my clients are tuning into this. I swear to goodness, I'm better than this normally.
Same with
It
my
happens on our
coworkers. I hope
lives.
nobody's tuning in yet.
Yeah.
It happens on our lives. It's
I
one of
know.
those things we try to let it go organic and just talk as we talk. That being the case, it is an
Haley.
18 plus show, so you can talk the way you would like to talk.
Good.
So you're safe.
Yep.
Good.
But
Why we
first
have the little
question?
ticker at the bottom.
Yep, literally the first question is, are those candies the old butterscotch and strawberry ones?
Yeah, I got. Listen, the other day I made somebody go get. I made my husband go get me some cream savers. I was like, you better go over there and get me some. I'm not joking.
Werther's, motherfuckers.
Oh my God.
I want
Yes.
that Hershey. I don't want the creamy kind.
No, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is and what it's about. When you get older, you want a piece of hard candy. Who the hell tells you this stuff? Like, it must be a vitamin deficiency. That's all I know. That's what it is.
What are you deficient in? Hard candy. Get it for me now.
Right on. Right on.
Jeez.
So what do y'all guys got? Listen, we got to sit and chit chat this last weekend, and it was a good time. I always enjoy being with y'all guys and stuff like that when we have our events and stuff. And it's just a good time. It's like, I know this is kind of crazy, but we all do our different things. We all do our different types of healings and cleansings and stuff like that. But if you ever get around like a bunch of old cops and they're like swapping stories and this and that, that's kind of like what it is. It's like, oh, did you have something like that? Da-da-da? And then we just like swap stories, and it's so cool, to like talk like that and just be able to enjoy each other's company,
Yeah.
It's really difficult to find people that you can actually do that with. Because you can't walk up to a muggle friend, so to speak, and be like, so you know what I did this weekend? I legitimately screamed at a doll and then pulled something out of it that was twice its size, and then screamed at that, and then we just had a moment. You can't walk up to people like that, and that's definitely not a conversation that you can have. That you can have with Aunt Tilda or Gmail. You just can't do that. You'll give them both the vapors, and you don't want to do that.
Well, I actually sort of did that one time. I was at work, and somebody walked up to me and was like, "How was your weekend?" "Oh, I was part of an exorcism." And they're like, sorry, don't want to talk to you. Bye.
I forget that this stuff is weird to some.
Right?
I like when I start talking, I'll just start talking to people and they'll give you this look like it's unusual. And I'm like, my stuff's normal to me. The shit y'all get into, God Lord, and your Starbucks, don't get me wrong, I love Starbucks and stuff like that, like your drama over your cups. Now that's some other stuff. I'm over here trying to fight for somebody's soul. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's normal to me.
Right.
I've had some weird experiences though, when you know how it is when you start channeling, and I've had to learn this as I went along. When you're early in the game, you want to give everybody the information that you've been told, right? That you're receiving. And then I really shit the bed at Christmas, guys. I really looked at people that were in my family and was like, look, such and such is halfway on the other side, and started giving this information. And what they don't realize is on the other side, you're receiving that information from that person too. And I just was like, I'll never do this again. And I've had to learn how to edit, which is really hard if you've ever talked to me, to realize that it's actually worse than when I talk to y'all about, you know what I'm saying? That I've actually started to edit more because I don't think people are sometimes in a place that they can receive the information we want to give them. So that's something that I've had to learn through this, because if I could give all the information that I wanted to, shoo, there'd be marriages failing. There'd be people, oh Lord, I mean, all over the place, people crying. I'd be like, shoo, sorry, that's a day's work for me. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know how it is. We kind of keep some of it back to
coworker out
ourselves.
telling them exactly where they have scoliosis in their back.
Yes.
They're like, how the hell did you know that? I can see it.
Yep. It's a signature. People don't realize when they look outside of the mundane. That's why muggles, I think that they don't realize, right? I think they want that mundane because if they stepped outside of it, I don't know if they can comprehend it. But once you do, you're like, oh, this is a signature. You got something. You got to go to the doctor. You got to do this. Luckily, what we get to do, people do come to us and we get to tell them those things. And regular life scares the shit out of them, man.
Like in all honesty, I can vouch for that. I would much rather do what it is that I do in the quote unquote shadows than deal with the day to day.
Oh my God, yes.
Truth.
Yep.
But speaking of that and day to day, getting into a little meat and potatoes.
Mhm.
You and the girls have been really busy lately. You've had a award-winning documentary. You guys have written multiple books. You've moved and shaped literally everywhere, that we know you've been, and probably several other places. So how did all this get started?
Shoo. You ever look back back and you're like, oh my gosh, because you try, us on the circuit. I like to call it the circuit, the dirty circuit, whatever. Like we see each other all the time, right? And you know that there's a path you're supposed to go on. And for some reason, it just doesn't happen. And you keep asking yourself, you're like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this? Blah, blah, blah. And then one day it just aligns. Me and Ashley, I'll go way back on this. Me and Ashley grew up on our farm, and we still have the family farm and stuff like that. And it was always just a little bit different. But we didn't realize it until we would go out in town. I don't get to share the stories of me and Ashley as much, so I'm going to throw these out here for us more. When we were young, we didn't know, but we lived in the house that my mom and dad still live in. And how this all came to be is my granddaddy and his brother went down and bought a large piece of land, and they raised all their kids on it. And we had a house that was called the old house in the back of the holler. Okay. And as people like got married and stuff, they would build on the Holler Road another house. So we lived in this house forever, and Ashley would literally see something. Now she would be like, she would get up to get ready for school and stuff, and she would have this old woman screaming, and she would like turn off the hairdresser or whatever, and she would see this woman's face, and it would scare the shit out of her, and the woman would be gone within a second. Well, I didn't tell her, but I would come around the corner and I would see this thing that kind of resembled that, and we never talked. Never, because we were so scared. And back in the mountains, they're like, that's the devil. You push that away, even though these things are happening, and they would give you remedies for it and things like that of what you needed to do. Years later, we got together and we started talking, and we were like, holy crap, why did we talk to each other? So it was really crazy with me and Ashley. Like she would be, just reading an article and be like, I got to tell Sissy when she gets up. When I would get up, I would run in there and be like, you wouldn't believe this dream I had. And I would tell her the article that she had wrote. I mean, read. So we knew something was different like that. Like one time Ashley broke down, and God bless her, her car tried to run her over. I find her walking in the middle of the night with one flip-flop she was changing in between her feet. Only one, y'all. But something said, go to Ashley now. And I just found her. She had no phone, no nothing, was in the middle of we call this place Shaw's Vegas. It's in the country. And she just was like, how did you know? I was like, I don't know. Get in the car. Things like that would happen all throughout. And we thought this was normal. This is shit twins do. Me and Ashley are not twins. You know what I'm saying? So as it got going, my granddaddy passed away. And when he did, there was a lot of circumstances around it. My granddaddy was robbed of everything. These old farm people, they keep everything in a safe. Right before my granddaddy died, somebody broke in, knew exactly where the safe, took guns, all kinds of stuff. And when that happened, we started having dreams. I would have the time and things like that. And when I was doing this, and y'all got to remember, we weren't doing anything for the public at that time. And I could just keep hearing in my mind, you're not supposed to be here. You're not supposed to be here. And my dreams that I would have, but I would find my granddaddy. And when I found him after he had passed, I could feel that this dream was different. I knew things were different, and he would show me in time. Right. And then Ashley would see these pictures. Like she would have dreams of this person talking to her that looked like my grandma, but there was like black stuff coming out of her mouth. Or his mouth. Come to find out, we had to go to court. The time that my granddaddy showed me in those dreams was disputed on the court stands. The person who actually told all the information was the one Ashley saw. So when this happened, it was no stopping it. It was like floodgates opened. And I remember getting in touch with Pat and being like, what the hell is happening? Because we were paranormal investigators before then, and we were very spiritual and stuff that we didn't know how far back though. But she was like, look, you're just opening up. And then it was no stopping. It was just like, instead of us going to look for something, it was coming to look for us, and we could hear it walking up and whispering in our ear. We were like, holy crap. So our granddaddy was a really big catalyst. We actually knew who did all of the stuff and had to go to my uncle. And my uncle was like, listen, don't say anything in the family. The police have already contacted me. This is the person that they know is behind all. We already knew it. So within a minute, we lost half of our family because of the gifts that we were given. And we had to stand up and say, look, this is the person who did it. It was actually my mom's brother. So it was really, really hard. And I could never think of going back to those situations. But then what happened was it's just the universe moved people out of our way. We were put in the right place. I never thought we would write books. We would write books. We've been in documentaries. All this stuff has happened because I believe that's the path that we were always meant to be on. We just kept putting things in our place because we didn't think we were ready. But the universe has different plans for us, guys. You know what I'm saying? Never did I think, like, if you know where we come from the mountains, we come from the country. Nobody does the things that we do. Like, I have family members that come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Miss Hollywood," or whatever. I'm like, "Honey, I ain't no Miss Hollywood. I'm the same as I was. I just got maybe a couple books, or I got the documentary, but I'm still the same person," because me and Ashley always say that we're very, very blessed, and whatever is decided in this universe to say, okay, those two, they can stand up and represent us. You see what I'm saying? So to us, we're just very, very humble. We're very blessed, and we hope that we continue to be able to do the things we do and help people, you know?
It's the way to be. You know, when you do things for the right reasons, you never do without.
That's true. Yep.
Well, it's your turn. You ask a question.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's see. I got a good one. So what was the most rewarding I guess case or client that you've ever helped? Okay. And it's not with money, but as in satisfaction of knowing that you help them, you know?
Which one of you wants to take it?
Actually, the very first case that I was on with you all. It was me and you.
Oh, the one in Georgetown.
The one in Georgetown.
Yeah.
That one is funny as hell because I got into a pissing match with two spirits. And that itself is funny, but the rewarding part was, it was the first time I ever did an Estes method. And I was actually given this family messages that they really wanted the answers to. I actually had the whole room crying by the time we were done.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, it was really.
Oh, man. Those are amazing. Those are amazing moments when we can connect so strong. And everybody feels it, not just you and the person, but everybody. There's no replacing that in my mind, you know?
So yeah, that's right now, that's my most rewarding case.
I could believe it.
I started out with a pissing match to begin with.
Hey, it was an adventure, man.
Yeah.
That whole property was an adventure. Let's just call it what it is. But yeah, it was amazing. Tyree, you know, for those that don't know what the Estes method is, basically it's where a medium or a psychic, one, the other, or both, are placed in a state of isolation as far as senses. So they're blindfolded. They usually have static white noise or a spirit box in their ears so they can't hear what's going on, and are usually off to a separate space so they can't be influenced by who's right there. They also can't hear the questions that are being asked. So it is completely unbiased information that you get. Once the medium actually winds up connecting, you wind up asking questions in a different room, in a different space, and they give you intelligent answers to those questions. And Tyree was getting images of the dad and son. It was family property, and the father had passed. The dad and son building the place, and him talking about, Little League or baseball when he was a kid. And, naming names and giving descriptions. And, this guy is breaking down. And, here's the rest of us going, fucking go, man, do it. It was amazing. It was an awesome experience. It's probably one of the best Estes methods that I've actually witnessed.
Are you Miss Pat?
That's a really difficult question.
Misty Conner with the tough ones.
I know. I had to dig deep, y'all.
Shit. I don't know. But I'm probably gonna bitch out on this one.
You better not. you better not, trainee.
The emotional healings are my favorite. Those are always the most rewarding. Just because when you actually feel that connection with someone and you actually start tapping in the right way, it's like nothing else, and you actually get to have a conversation with this person in the way that they need it to get them to a space that they can actually heal in the way that they need to, that they can actually heal physically the way that they need to. Emotional healings are probably my favorite. So anytime that I get a chance to do one of those and actually do it correctly, with the person being willing and spirit actually coming through in the way that I need to and the way that they need it, that's my favorite.
That's good.
Mr. Raymond.
Oh boy, where to start? As far as the cases go, I'm like Tyree. It was definitely my first case. It was Steve and Destin and I. We went to Indiana, and we were helping this young family out because things were after their kids. So just getting the chance to make sure that they were safer and seeing just everything about them just lighten up before we left. That was definitely an experience, especially when Grandpa came through. I was talking through Steve. That was really good. I loved seeing their faces and stuff and getting to hear the answers that he had for them, especially when I actually caught a picture of him in the parents' bedroom there. So that was great. I like the evidence part.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
definitely anything we do at the events as well, just the people that we get to meet and the people we talk to and help, and that's always an exciting moment for me.
It's a loaded question. It is. So there's a couple actually, friends of ours. There's a couple of families that we've helped out, previous Dead Files clients, and these were all people that Amy had suggested we go and help. And the Barone family, Michelle usually frequents our comments, but the Barone family, the Cruella family, Carissa usually pops in here and has been a major part of being a good, honest cheerleader and support for us for a long time, as well as Michelle and the Barones, and the one and only Otter Mountain, Mr. Keith Ottersberg,
Who literally just popped in.
Yeah.
I felt you, Keith. But I think those kinds of cases are probably the most rewarding to me, especially not because it was affiliated with Amy or the Dead Files, but usually we get sent the cases that are outside of most people's wheelhouse. We deal with shit that the church doesn't know about or have a method for, or most people usually have exhausted what it is that they have in their arsenal, and we're the last ditch effort. And a lot of the people that we work with, it's their community has backed out on them because they're scared. Their family and friends have backed out on them because they either don't believe them or they're scared, and they don't have anybody anymore. And it's really awesome to go in and be able to be there for them and help them through it. And then the thing that gets me, and it's my favorite thing in the world, it's why I'm starting to talk with my hands, is watching them do it for themselves. We go in and we help and we do these cases, but watching families actually do the homework, because we tell them, here's how to protect yourself. Here's what you can do to keep your house clean. This is what you can do to communicate with these particular spirits or this particular entity to make sure that everything's cool and copacetic. And when people actually do those things and you watch them thrive, and they go from being afraid to having a strength that they didn't realize they had, it's the most amazing thing in the world to me. I love watching people grow. It's my favorite.
I agree with you. There's nothing like trying to advise somebody and they don't listen to a damn thing you say. And I'm like, you're sitting here in tears. You want to change your life, but all I'm telling you to do is reclaim the energy around you, and they don't want to do it. Most of the people, though, when they get to me, they're like, I'll do whatever. What do you want? Because they want it lifted off. They know something's wrong, and people find their ways to us, I think. I can't stand it, though, when somebody comes and, there's an energy exchange, and there has to be some kind of karmatic exchange. That's where money comes in. If you talk to any reader who does it for, the right reasons, there has to be some kind of exchange. Either you're bartering, either there's some kind of, because you'll throw each other's karma off. That's what I've always been told. And they'll sit there and they're willing to pay whatever, but they want you to prove them. I'm like, dude, you're spending your time and your funds to try to see if I'm legit. Honey, just talk to me for a minute and you're going to know whether I'm legit. And then you could get a reading. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know why people do that. I don't have people do that a lot to me, but I know other readers do. By the time they get to me, they're just like, do whatever. Put me on your table.
It's cool. Touch me.
Yeah. I'm like, this is your time. 30 minutes. Just lay there.
So you actually recently did at the last event that we were all at, the Sacred Journey Market, you did a seminar on you and the girls did a seminar on curses and hexes.
Yeah.
So there is the traditional, quote unquote, traditional understanding of what curses and hexes are.
Mm-hmm.
What's your all's thoughts on it?
Well, you can even throw a jinx in there. Jinx, curses, hexes. Jinx are just like annoyances. It's kind of like, oh, we say the same things. Jinx, you got to buy me. It's like like a cat walking across, you exit out. That's a jinx. It's something small. Like it really doesn't bother anything. Hexes is where somebody has literally been like, I'm going to conjure this up on you. Most of the time a hex is directed towards a person. And this is somebody who, they're angry at you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A curse is a little bit stronger. A curse is one that can be generational. It's biblical. There's all kinds of curses in the Bible, things like that. These are stronger. These are things that take root, take hold. And just one of the main things that I like to tell people, because people don't understand how the Bible and witchcraft can go together, but it's very much so. If it wasn't, they wouldn't advise you on it in the Bible. They wouldn't advise you on curses in the Bible. There is a verse that says something along the lines of, just like a bird, flying crazy, if a curse is sent to you and it's not meant for you, or you didn't do anything karmatically to receive it, it will not stick to you. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought, if you're giving this to people, it has to really be, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody goes to the Bible. That's one of the most sold books in history, guys, right? So that they always are like, oh, don't go towards that. But there is many ways in there of how to repel, or some of the strongest curses, like taking your firstborn, the locust, the all kinds of stuff. These were curses that were sent down. So if you don't think a curse is real, like there is always giving it power, feeding it, right? Is you believe in it. But honey, if a curse is strong enough, it's gonna stick. You see what I'm saying? Generational curses, you hear people talking about that forever. I have been told that there was a curse on me. I paid quite a lot when I was young. I'm talking to like when I was 19. I was supposed to be in college. I was like, hey, I even made up a fib, and I do not lie at all. But I went to my uncle and I was like, listen, I need $400 for new class. I got to go to this class. And he was like, here you go. And I paid him back. It was to remove a curse. I'm not talking. I found this lady. And I'm just like, I knew something was wrong. I knew, kind of like people come to me. But she was extremely expensive back in the day. But she told me, she was like, and I knew there was generation curses on our family. All the women are out of wedlock. They have kids. It was a big ball of, nobody had ever done it right. They had never, and that's not saying the women in my family are beautiful women and they're really strong women, but for some reason, this curse was carrying on, and you could see it through generations. And something told me, look, you got to change something or it's going to happen to you. So I really did. I went and had this lady, and I'm the first in my line to actually, go on dates, then get married, then plan the child, da 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 da. Before that, it wasn't like that. I don't even know any women in my line that was like that. So I know that was broke. I could feel it, but this was a long time ago. I feel like people who know that they have curses will find their way. They can feel it. It's a heaviness. I'll tell you, it feels like you are walking around like Charlie Brown with a little cloud over you all the time. It doesn't let you breathe. It doesn't let you get to the place that you're supposed to be. This is something that I actually take off of people on my table. It doesn't allow you to go on the path that you're meant to go on, because it's got everything clogged up, all the energy that is around you and things like that. But I want y'all to think about, even because the mountains, we talk about it in this way. When the mountains people came over here, they threw everything in these mountains that they felt was unworthy. Everybody who was rich or was prestigious got the good land. We got the mountains. That's where the hillbillies, right? And they didn't think we were going to survive. What that brought was all of this old energy with them too. These people are coming from, over in Ireland, Scotland. They're coming from African nations. They're coming from, they were indigenous. This is old energy. And these mountains have been here longer than bones because they were underwater. And when they came up, they actually are older than bones. We tell people that, and that's the truth. So all that energy is up here. So people have that energy around them. And if you don't believe that you're messing with the elemental or an energy that has been in these mountains for a long time, that can curse your line. Okay. And you have to take care of those things. So yeah, definitely. We talk about curses, hexes, and people always believe if we're on this side of things and helping people, we have to be a white lighter. I don't even like using that word because people automatically think that you're supposed to be love and light. Honey, I am an eye for an eye. That is biblical. If you come after me, I have to be protected or I have to push it back just as strong. And that's the way I practice. So I have to know about all these things. I am actually one that tries to protect everybody. That's what I love my magic to be, But yeah, definitely curses are pretty daggone bad, and they can go with anybody forever. And like I said, even the spirits up here can be attached to families and generations. So it's pretty intense. You know what I'm saying? It's a cool topic, and I don't think enough people touch on it, and tell people, how do you advise to do these certain things,
You probably can't tell because of the beard and the mustache, but I've been up on this side of the camera cheesing this whole time. It's something that we've talked about a lot. Multiple mechanics have tried to tell people on multiple occasions how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that a lot of people forget is curses 9 times out of 10 are defense mechanisms.
Yes.
So they're literally tripwired. They're booby traps.
Mm-hmm.
don't touch, don't fuck with this, don't do.
Yep.
If you do, you're going to get this in return. And one of the biggest ones out there was King Tut's tomb.
Yeah.
It was literally written all over his space. Don't touch my shit. Don't move me.
Mhm.
Let me sleep. And you can hang out here as much as you want. And what do? They take him, they take his bed, they separate
Yep.
the two and start to remove sacred objects. And then people start dying. People start losing limbs. People start getting heinous diseases. Major accidents, losing every bit of money they've had,
Yes.
any kind of prestige they had, So it's something that you can stumble on very easy and not realize that you did.
Mhm.
So it's awesome to hear somebody else, finally go, hey, one, you didn't necessarily deserve this, but what the fuck did you do?
Right. Right.
And the other thing is thank you for being another gray pather,
Yes.
as we call it. It's wonderful to be in the white light, and it's wonderful to call on it, and it's wonderful to use it. But if that's all you're going to depend on, you're going to wind up having a lot of chinks in the armor.
Lord, honey, ain't that the truth? I have had people shame me, and we have sat in private and talked about this because this is a real sore subject for me because I've had people that I've traveled with who have shamed me because they were like, oh, them two, me and Ashley. Oh, they don't go in at the white light area. They got darker. And I'm like, how are you supposed to battle anything that's darker if your ass is always in the light? You don't know what it's like. You don't know how dark it is, how deep it is, how when you come in and you start seeing things that are they look like they made of oil and tar, and that's what you're seeing around people. That's what it's not always going to be light. So that kind of pisses me off. I was shamed a lot. And I was like, that's what I'm talking about on our journey. I believe the universe separates us from those people because that's not meant to be our path. We're supposed to be the ones that can see the darker so that we could help people. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, you got to know where it comes from and how it works in order to get rid of it. Darkness gives purpose to light, and light casts shadow. So it's that whole thing of you have to have both. You have to have a balance of both. And being a practitioner, you have to be careful of not leaning one way or the other too much, because you wind up getting swallowed by it.
Yep.
And this is going to be a hot take. So trigger warning for people in the audience here. But since we're on the topic of the white light and that kind of one-sidedness, what's your opinion of toxic positivity in the metaphysical community?
I think anytime it's like getting a good bunch of, oh God, do not burn me at the stake for this. Okay. Cause I'm getting ready to say this. It's gonna be controversial. And I think you did this on purpose. It's like getting a good bunch of Christians together. They only want to tell you the good stuff, but in the back, they're doing all kinds of dirty shit that they would never bring to the light. That's exactly what that makes me. And that's the truth. They're only gonna, and then they're the ones that do the dirtiest shit. I'm gonna tell y'all this story. Okay. There was a lady who she claims to be a white lighter and stuff, and she is to a certain extent, but her husband stepped out on her, and she come running in, and she was like, help me find this woman. I know he's sleeping with her. So of course, don't give that to a woman, because we are going to go to the ends. We're going to become like FBI, CIA, finding who it is on the internet. And we did. And she looked and I said, do you want me to help you do these work-ins? And she said, no, I don't want you to have that karma, which I really respected. Right. But I would have done it because I love her. And she made this poppet, and every time her husband came around, she beat the shit out of that poppet. And that girl, she off of social media, you can't even find her anywhere now. And she's like, I know. And she knows some other deep details that this girl went through. But when she stands up and she talks, she's only a white lighter. So I'm just saying, guys, that toxic, like how they just build each other up and stuff. There's another side of this. It's kind of like on social media, people only want to put out the good stuff, but really their house could be falling apart when you look behind it. So I am very much so. Listen, it's got to have balance, like you said. I believe that it's okay to say, hey, this is some dark shit. We're going to work at it. Doesn't always have to be positive, like you said. Or my worst thing is when somebody says, keep the vibes high. Like you're going to try to talk to them about a deep case and they're like, keep the vibes high, man. I'm like, that's the same thing as telling somebody to shut the hell up. I do not like that. You can't always keep the vibes high. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through the shit, man. That's the way life is, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's the biggest one is think positive.
Yeah.
Well, you know, of course you're supposed to, you know, think positive, ask for good things and good things come. But it's the whole thing of people forget that it's okay to not be okay.
Yes.
The point of thinking positive is to find that silver lining when you're not okay.
Right.
And, you know, I think it just becomes that whole thing. Well, if I think it doesn't exist, then it doesn't. And it's like, no, that's not how that shit works.
That's right. That's right.
Because if everybody walks around thinking positive, there would be no reason to have us healers.
Exactly. Or medications. I really, really like how many times if you have somebody who's suicidal, you telling them, oh, think positive. What the hell is that going to do for them? Medications, I do not ever look that. Like, that's one of the things I tell people, like, you know, if I'm sitting with them and like, let's say there's some blood in their egg or something like that, there's certain questions I go through, but at the end of it, I'm going to say, honey, go make sure you get an appointment with your doctor. Just get a once over. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't overlook that. We are on a spiritual side, but we are physical beings. And sometimes the chemicals just ain't chemical. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they need something to help them so that they can then think positive. I would not have believed that until seeing certain family members being detrimental, like just horrible. And one little pill they take every day gives them a normal life now. And you tell them only to think positive. I've had to go through that because we're very old school in our family. So they really don't like to look at mental illness and things like that. They're just like, oh, you got to take care of that or think positive. Or one thing is that idle hands are the devil's playground. So they would just put us to work. We'd be like, man, I'm depressed. They were like, get out there and feed them horses. I'm like, what the hell? Now I'm horses and depressed.
Now I'm more depressed for feeding the horses.
Thank you. So I didn't realize until recently watching this how much it can help. So I don't ever want to look over that, but I hate when people say if they could really think positive all the time, they sure as hell wouldn't need us, like you said, you know?
Yeah.
Lord, I'm burning all kinds of bridges. Just bring more people at me.
It's a thing, Misty. I mean, we're not exactly known for being everybody's best friend because
I try to be everybody. I try to give as much love as I can to people. But I try to do it in a way that, you know, helps them. You know, I am a little bit of a fluffier person. So I like to say, well, honey, make sure you go to the doctor. In your cup, I might have saw something else, you know. Sorry, my dogs are in there. Everybody's trying to keep them quiet. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's a trend. Besides, we all have animals of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
So everybody understands.
I have a boxer who thinks she's just like, she just has to defend everything and she's scared of everything. So if you hear her.
Your turn for a question.
Okay.
For us?
I got a good one. So now we all have them. Okay. So don't feel bad about this, but what is one person or a client or situation that you still think about that something else could have been done different? You believe in your wheelhouse. If you had done something different, maybe you could have helped a different outcome.
Fuck.
Jesus, Misty.
I'm hitting them, guys.
Jesus, Misty.
She's swinging for the fences with that one.
I know, because we all have them, because we're healers, right? And we all want to make sure that somebody gets to that next level. They get the big picture. But sometimes, no matter how much we give them, it's not possible. And you lay down at night and you think, gosh, if I had done this different. So I know y'all got them. So go on and give them.
We've got one that comes to see us every so often, and they're still not ready to let go of what they have with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can we help them see that their life is going to be so much better without this?
Yeah.
And it's hard because if they're not ready, you can't help them.
That's right.
So all you can do is watch.
Yeah. That y'all know mine. I still think about her. It's the lady on the table at Sacred Journeys. And I mean, I really thought she had multiple personalities. And I still think to myself, should I have just took the step further and been like, let's get rid of this now or this? But she didn't want to. Like you said, she really just, this was part of her and a defense mechanism that she had called in. But what she didn't understand, it was an entity that didn't need to be there. And I still think about that, guys. So that's one of mine.
Go ahead, Tyree.
No. Probably. And it's actually, mine is one that I'm still working with. Or I was working with. They disappeared.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I got to check on them. But my client's like schizophrenic.
Yep.
And he was actually probably drinking about what, a fifth of whiskey a day?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He drank like an actual fish.
Yeah, and doing drugs on top of that.
Yep.
I started working with him, and now he drinks like maybe a beer a day and hits the whiskey like once, a shot or two a week. And now is only doing mushrooms. But I can't get him off the rest of it to clear his head.
Yep.
To figure out what's actually going on with him. And he refuses to go to a doctor.
Yep.
So
we have that a lot in the mountains because there's hard times. So what they do is instead of like doing other things, they turn to alcohol. That's one of the biggest things, or opiates and things like that. That's an epidemic in our area. So I understand you 100%.
But I got it. I calmed the drinking down, and I calmed the hard drugs down. He's still doing marijuana. He still tries to get all the mushrooms, which I have no problems with those.
Right.
But he won't step forward to keep coming.
Yeah.
But I still work with him as much as I can. So. Actually, he was the one I was coming in here on days we were closed to work on him because he couldn't come in when we were open.
Yeah.
He couldn't make it in.
Yeah.
So I was opening up the shop on Sundays to bring him in. So that one was mine.
Mine, there were so many like 2 a.m. emergency phone calls. So many. And they wouldn't let it go. No matter what I did, no matter what I said. And it blew up in my face. And that one was rough. Really bad thought form case. And I still think about that one on occasion.
It's like they leave marks on our soul. It doesn't matter. And you'll run through it over and over and think, could I have done it? But at the end of the day, like I'll say, they got to take the ownership, And we can only take them so far. But God, does it settle on our soul, though, doesn't it?
Yep.
And that's one of the things. And you can ask Missy about this because she's usually, until recently, she was my handler. I have to have a medical handler when I go out of state, but I also have to have a handler. Otherwise, I'm Mr. Magoo off into, wherever it is that I go. But I would stay awake and run it back to her after every case.
Mm-hmm.
So, the double bed hotel, she'd be laying facing one wall, I'd face the other on the other side of the room. What about this? You took care of that, Steve. What about this? This other member took care of that. What about this? And hours. And I still cycle through some of our cases. And there have been some real rough ones. We had a case in New York, and that one specifically messed a bunch of us up. That one we actually wound up having to exercise a 4-year-old girl, and we managed to help her, but the rest of the family we couldn't do much for because one, a couple of them weren't ready, and two, there was a lot that was in the way as far as personal health, things like that was going on with them at the time. And that one still gets me pretty bad. And the only case that we ever had on record that was a dead files case that Amy said that the people had to move, the only time that we were unable to make sure they could stay in their own home was a Philadelphia case. And because of the workings of the person that was previously there, uh, basically they had drawn negativity to an altar in the basement. And then instead of safely disposing of what they drew all this negativity in the fucking yard. And it literally brought swarms of bugs that no other neighbor had. It took the light out of the land. It started killing the grass. It started killing the trees. And I mean, it was awful. And by the time it was done, because who he had petitioned, there was nothing we could do. And they actually had to move. So there's a couple of them that I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like, there's like, because guys, we've been doing this for a while. Like, I've been publicly doing cleansings for like, I think it's like 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. And I never thought that I would ever be doing that. But it's something that changes you, doesn't it? Like, you could sit and you could think of these things and what ifs and stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's just, we joke and stuff and you could tell us, but when the demeanor of that question came, all of us were just like, oh man, that you could tell the burden that goes with it. Just like there's super highs in this, there's super lows that we beat ourselves up with, even though it's not our path. It's not what we're just trying to assist them. It's kind of like having a, like a alcoholic or having a drug, somebody who's addicted to drugs. We can help them as much as we can. And that's what gets me too, is sometimes, like, I find, I don't know if y'all guys do, but I find that they have this oppressive energy so long, they don't know what it feels like not to have it. So when you give it to them, they're like, wow, I feel like I'm floating, or I'm kind of off kilter. Or, wow, why does this feel so light? And I'm like, that's you. That's what you feel like. All this other shit you've been carrying. That's why you were so weighed down. You see? But it's sometimes, I don't know. It's the highs and lows, like I said. And there's only there's only some that I've came across that truly walk the path of this. A lot of them love to say it. And they're like, they're on the light side, and I think they're beautiful. Keep that light over there and do your thing, honey. But there's not many that walk both of it. You know what I'm saying? And see that high and low in it. So
I'm sure, all of us will agree with you on that, especially in the circles that we all travel. It's difficult to find people that aren't just in it for the right reasons, but are in it and understand it.
mhm.
Because that's the big thing. You can be in this kind of work for the right reasons and be a beautiful soul by doing it. But understanding how it works and why it's done the way that it's done is important. And I don't think a lot of people, especially now that you can get certified for literally just about anything if you go to the right website,
Yep. Yep.
it makes it really difficult to uh, be able to properly, trust someone to work on you anymore.
Yep.
So it's a thing. Not to mention the blatant shit talk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
see, that's just like me. I can do Reiki, but I refuse to do Reiki on anybody because my name ain't on a piece of paper someplace in the Reiki line.
Yeah. Yep.
And until my name is on that piece of paper in a Reiki line, I ain't doing Reiki,
Hmm.
even though I know I can do it, because that's dishonest.
Right. Well, that's why me and Ashley, the only reason why I went down the Reiki path is back then I was a tarot card reader and I wanted to know that exchange of energy. And then I got super sick in Reiki. It was ridiculous because it was like funneling down, but I was also digging out all that stuff in them. Nobody tells you that. They're just like, oh, I do this and this. And then I would get super sick. And then I had to figure out what the heck was going on. Me and Ashley and Pat got our masters, Reiki masters and teachers, because that piece of paper, sir, makes people feel that they are safe. And now conventions are coming forward and saying, if you want to be in this doing Reiki or healing or whatever you believe, you have to have that certification. We actually had a con tell us that. And we were like, oh, that's cool. We got ours. But for all the intuitive healers like yourself, sir, that know that you can do it, it's a gift given, and I've ran across them. They're not able to, it's almost like they're not as credible. And I hate to think that, but that's the only, and they do probably just as, because when I do my cleansings and stuff, that's not Reiki. That's mountain healing. That's laying hands. But when I tell them that I'm a Reiki master, people, it's like it clicks, and it's like I'm driving a car and I have a permit to drive a car. Everybody could drive a car if they wanted to, but they don't have the permit. And I hate that in our society now. It kind of goes back to who has the money to do this. Because if you get into Lord, that stuff, it can cost. What you do with your sound stuff, that stuff costs.
yes.
And it's so sad though, because there's so many people out there that are truly gifted. I ran across this one lady, and every day she gave her dog healing. She didn't know that she was actually, she just, because she was trying to keep the dog alive. It was an older dog. She loved this dog tremendously. And when we were at one of our events, I was like, let me see your hands. And I kind of, and I hate to say this, I didn't fully attune her, but I brought them hands in so they can give more power, so that she can help her dog. Like that stuff, I'm not charging that woman no money. Her penance is trying to keep that animal she loves alive. So you know what I'm saying? I hate when it gets into that stuff. I hate when it gets into, do you got that certification? But also on the other hand, is it helping weed out people that may be doing it for the wrong reason? I don't know. I ask myself that question all the time. So what do y'all think about that?
Personal opinion, to me, it's one of those deals of it's a lot like going to school. Literally, it's a lot like going to class. Just because you're intelligent enough, you have the book smarts, you have the common sense. Just because you're intelligent enough to understand something, it doesn't mean that you're certified in it.
Right.
And to be an electrician, to be a plumber, even if it's a vocation like that, you still have to go to school to understand how to tighten the pipe or how to wire the house. And I can understand it from that point.
Yeah.
But I was taught certain things. We're going to put that out there that way. I was taught certain things by my teacher that are not associated with a piece of paper.
Right. Right.
And because of that, it hides under the guise of another thing,
Mhm.
but that's not what I do. So, yes, I do Reiki. That's exactly what I do. But what I'm actually doing is alchemy.
Yeah.
But you can't tell somebody, well, I'm going to do alchemic work and have it be okay. So
Mhm.
usually I'm doing Reiki because it reacts similarly. It's just a different mindset and a different motion.
Right. Kind of like being a witch. I'm a witch, but years and years before, my people called themselves healers because we're doing the same damn thing. It's just a word that makes people feel okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
We got any comments that we need to?
I mean, we got quite a few comments, but I actually have a question.
I'll do it.
Oh, get it.
So I'm curious if you feel like eggs from your farm have a better healing quality than eggs from the store bought, like cartons.
Oh gosh, I'm going to get deep on this one. If I have to in a pinch, I will use eggs from the store. I will. But you got to understand, like my ladies are taken very well care of. They are free range. They do whatever they want. If you are going metaphysically, just like if you're rendering bones and skins from the mountains, one that is done peacefully kind of has a different energy. A lot of times these eggs in the that are just cages, and if you've ever seen anything like that, it's horrible. They just pretty much, it's nasty. They're just producing these, they'll feed them these pellets that make them produce more. That kind of egg I really don't want to work on anybody with, just because we're starting off with an extreme. Do you see what I'm saying? And I want to take away from somebody that might already be doing extreme or feeling those energies. In a pinch, I will use them. I prefer to use them where whoever's giving that energy, that egg, that chicken is well taken care of. Plus, I want to know where my eggs come from. And this is y'all, this is crazy, but I have had people come give me eggs and I'm like, I don't trust you enough to use your egg. And that's the truth. I don't trust a lot, but the more you get into witchcraft, okay, the more you know somebody can take any essence and try to give you something. If I'm trying to, because I had somebody who I knew there was something there. I'm not going to name any names, but I knew that it was like they were trying to give us so much. It's kind of like, why? It's kind of like stuffing that pig before you slaughter it. I'm like, what are you doing? And I knew there was other intentions behind this person. And they would try to give me eggs. They would try to give me chickens. They would try to give me this and that and other. And I was very cordial. And I would be like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. No, I did not use them. Come to find out, I had people come to me and say, look, they are cutting your throat everywhere they can. They were getting in touch with events and saying, I can do it cheaper, or I can do it better. I won't even charge you. Just put us in. They were showing up to events and trying to take over certain things like seances, like just jumping in. And I'm not a rude person, so it's really hard for me to, be like, back off, but I can feel the intent on them. So I'm very selective of the eggs. I know that's so crazy. Y'all probably like, this woman's crazy.
Oh,
It's my spiritual tool. So
No.
let me ask y'all a question. Let's say that you use crystals, or now y'all guys give me crystals and I'm cool with that. I love it. But if somebody walked up to you and they were trying to, and you just felt that off energy and they're like, hey, use this on your next cleansing, what would y'all do? Y'all be like, throw that bitch in the trash right now.
So I can actually kind of, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sneak
We've
this
been
outside.
given gifts before.
Yeah.
That you just feel it. You
Yep.
can feel it from the item itself. No, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot, especially around here at the local market, and because we're known in this area, so people will come up and thank you for helping. Here, have this crystal. I know you work with them,
Mhm.
or here's a gift for you. Have this thing, and a lot of times, depending on the situation, as soon as I hold on to it, I'll set it on the table and I'll vibe with it for a second and then pick it back up and break it from the inside. I know what this is. I'm clearing this so I can use it.
Yep. Yep.
There's a part of that person that meant this as a gift, and because of that, I'll accept it as a gift, but I'm not accepting it the way that it is.
Yep. Yep. Isn't that crazy? Like normal people probably don't think like we do, but we have to, when you're using it as a tool or something like that, you have to go the extra beyond. I am very particular. I love gifts. I think they're amazing. Honey, don't stop giving that hard candy. Okay. But when I'm working like
Yes,
with a
ma'am.
client or something,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have to be very particular. I am very particular. So I have to either be around the people a lot to build that trust to use the items they're trying to give me, or either I have to cleanse them or something like that. So an egg, I just make sure that they come from me. If not, I throw them away. Sometimes I've had people go get their own eggs and bring them back. I will use that because that's they're picking that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Isn't that kind of crazy? Like we go the eggs. People don't know what we do to make sure that we're safe and they're safe. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Actually, just because it's kind of crazy sometimes. It's been handed quite a few things. Hey, can you take care of this for me?
Yep.
Yeah. You sure you want it back? Okay.
Mhm.
It's still in my driveway. It's still in my driveway.
I haven't been asked about it since. So
Awesome. That's a good thing. There was a situation with a haunted object,
Oh.
and it was take it. It's dangerous, and it's harming my family. Everyone is not okay with this item being around.
Mhm.
Go ahead and take it. Okay, we can take it, and I can make sure that it's at the house where it's safe, and so is everybody else. And it has sat there bitching, still to this day bitching in the carport because uh, this individual wanted it back,
Oh.
and because they wanted it back, I can't finish the working because it's not my item.
Right. Right.
So, hearing that it hasn't been asked for in a little while, that may change, but it was from what we were told during this particular situation. It was not great. It's not a great thing. Um,
And then what happened while we were there was not great.
no,
Mm.
But I mean, that happens on occasion, or people walk up and, hey, can you help me with this specific thing? Yeah, I don't mind, but I need to I have to have the permission. I'm not just going to break something that's yours.
Right.
yeah, it all comes down to what it is. We're kind of circling back, but it all comes down to what the person is ready to accept and what they're ready to do.
Mhm.
I mean, we've had people that have walked up with cursed objects that they've had in their family for a while. Brian and I have. We've experienced that before, and people will come up and, can you help me get rid of this curse on this object, or this negative energy that's in this object? We had someone that had a cursed rosary. which is hilarious to me. Hilarious, but it's hilarious to me that it was a rosary. But they go to hand it to you, and then you watch the hand clench back. Well, maybe not right now. Maybe in a couple minutes. Let's talk for a little bit. Okay, that's fine. And then the eyes glaze over, and even my blind ass can watch the sheen go across them. And I'm like, okay, maybe some other time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you mentioned before, they view it as a part of them now.
Yep.
So it totally understand the whole egg situation as far as crystals and objects and things like that, and helping people with them. I've had pieces of clear quartz. People have brought clear quartz to me. Here, have this. I went over there, literally. I went over there and bought it. And it just seemed to scream your name, and I've held it in my hand, and it's shattered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thank you, but it broke. It's you want to be as nice as you can be, and you want to be good to them because there's a part of them that's being good to you.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, yeah, you got to protect your shit. You got to protect your space, and you have to protect those around you.
Yep.
It's kind of like accepting a loaded gun with the serial number scraped off.
Yeah.
you know. We got any comments that anybody wants to read off, or?
So we got several. Renee said, "So my F-bomb is safe." Wink, wink. Linda Nelson said, "I do canning, but I don't trust other people's canning. I don't know them or if they're doing things safely." Exactly.
Okay. That's true.
True.
Yep. Linda also said, "I've walked through the plants that process the animals. It's heart-wrenching and awful, and I wish I could only use humanly raised. Goodness. My eyes.
Same.
And Keith said, one step at a time. It takes time to heal. Past trauma is a huge cause of addiction."
Oh God, yeah.
And he mentioned a situation back when we were talking about, the struggles of the ones that we really go back on. And he said he had a family separate after a case. They didn't do the work or communicate, fought himself over what he did wrong, and he didn't. It was difficult, but it's what needed to happen. Eventually, the people in the case got where they needed to be.
Right.
Yeah. Well, damn, Keith. Damn it. Keeping yourself busy can be a trauma response, so we don't need to deal with what's actually happening to us.
Yeah. Feed them horses, buddy. Swap them hogs.
Out there and do your chores.
Yeah.
Shut that jaw before I shut it for you.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Let's see, we got a couple. Yeah, Keith's laughing. And Mimi said, "I mean, it's a thing."
It is. Oh my goodness.
About speaking of the egg stuff, how did you actually get into the egg cleansings? Because that is wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Well, like it's the Reiki journey. Like I said, I tell people all the time, I'm like, this is not where I didn't think I was meant to. I used to listen, I was a tarot card reader, and us as tarot card readers could be a little bit direct and dirty and all that. We're the gritty. You know what I'm saying? You could do all this stuff. So I never was on the other side. I would watch people do Reiki and healings, and I'd be like, yeah, man, that's not for me. And then I went down the path of I took Reiki to help my people. And then I realized, holy crap, what's happening to me? And I was like, this isn't normal. People are like, oh, you got a funnel, da da da. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I can feel it. I know what's happening. Something's wrong here, because I would absorb so much. So I came across this gentleman. He was a Latino gentleman, and he was like, he did egg cleanse on me. And I was like, and when he got up, I'll never forget, y'all, because he had done it, and his nose, and it couldn't stop running, and he looked like he was having an allergic reaction. He was like, I don't know what the hell you are doing or how you're doing this. And I said, oh, I don't either. I said, but I tell you what, if you'll teach me how you've done this, go through the steps of your culture, I would gladly appreciate it. He was like, I would love to. So it was so crazy to see him, like his whole face was so red, but his nose, and he just couldn't, like, it was crazy. He's like, I've never felt anything like this. And I was like, well, I'm a Reiki, this, that, and other. But, so then he taught me. And then when he taught me, I was like, wow, it's like a conduit. It's like something that I can use that will absorb everything. The egg it brings life. Think about that. It is strong enough to hold life inside of it, but yet gentle enough that it can break really easily. And I just thought that was kind of cool. You know what I'm saying? So I started using it, and I was like, why does this feel so good? Why does this fit? Where before I was like getting sick, I couldn't do as much then. Like I would get so much like energy absorbed into me. I would be like, I could just do a little here or there. But then with the eggs, I can just continue, because it's like literally like a funnel, and it takes out of them and it holds it in there, and then I'm able to read it. But when I came back home and we were writing our first book, I found out that our generation, our line was actually wart removers. And if y'all really think about that, that's a witch in the mountains. We didn't get told that until we wrote our first book. And my dad was like, yeah, it's supposed to go. And how ours is passed down is man, woman, man, woman. Some of them are directly in line with females, but ours was man, woman. So if you calculated it, it should have been me and Ashley's turn next. So I was like, this makes sense, because it's pulling off things that aren't meant for you, right? That's what wart removing is. And then it goes away, the energies that are pulling off. And I was like, oh man, this makes so much sense. And then I'm going to be very honest with you. What I got taught and how I do it now is a lot different, because every time I would do it, I would just, it would change, and it would be like, okay, you need to do this now. You put them oils here. You start doing this. And the more I tuned into it, the more I was like, holy crap, this is really cool. So that's why now it's a lot different. I have a whole book. You have to sign your name so that I can dabble on the other side. And I write down any messages. There's like mediumship, there's cleansings, there's all kinds of things. I do road openers for you. I just really get it out there. And I don't know. I just feel like this is supposed to have been all the time, and I just didn't know it. And I don't come across people who've done it. Like in our circles, there's not really a lot of people who do it. But I will tell you, there's been people who's laid on my bed and then went off and made money off of it. And if you don't think that I find out, people, I'm telling everybody out there that has done this. If you don't think I find out, normally your friend is the one that comes back to me. I've got messages that says, oh, she's doing it in this shop now. Go bust her out. And for a minute, there's a little bit in me that's like, you know what, I should. And then something says, nah, man, that's their path and their karma or whatever. And if they get in there and they hurt somebody, because people don't realize you got to take this stuff off. What if you leave half in, half off, and they're still dealing with this kind of stuff, so I've just let people be, like, let them go on and do their thing. But I haven't taught anybody. In the mountains, we're very superstitious. If I teach somebody what I'm doing, I will not have the gift anymore. That's how the granny woman is. That's why there was normally only one in your family, and she would take somebody on as an apprentice, but like when it passed over, she knew her time had come to an end. So I probably will teach my son, Ashley, of course. But there is somebody who's outside of my line that I've already said, hey, when I decide to take this man, lay it down, I will let you be the one. But yeah, it's a gift. It's not really me. It's whatever's on the other side. I tell people this all the time. And people who lay on my bed, I've had them start crying because they're like, well, I deal with darker stuff. I work with demons. I work with this. And I'm like, honey, I'm not here to judge. Your people's going to help cleanse you in this. I'm just here as a conduit to help. I don't judge anybody or anybody's path that lays on my bed at all.
George, you're such a badass.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, honey.
But that
Yeah,
reminds me of how I do my sound healing.
Yeah.
I was taught a specific way I'm supposed to do it. And now that I've done it for years, it's like, hey, I don't have to do that step.
Right.
I can
Right.
skip this step and get to where I need to be. So I understand that. But I remember when you did my sound healing,
Or
egg cleansing. One of my guys almost knocks you on your ass.
Well, you had different, what people don't understand is part of this also is like, sometimes I see what's presenting themselves to you. Now it's up to you whether you want to take that course or whatever, like of action. But a lot of times people will have deities with them. Like the thing about deities, people don't understand. A lot of people are like, oh, I'm working with that deity. No, you got to be invited, killer. Like, it's not like that. They've got to accept. It's not like you can go around and say, like, I can't be like, oh, I'm married to such and such. They've got to reciprocate that. So a lot of times when I'm working on somebody, I'll see somebody like yours. I think I saw somebody there. I was like, whoa, you're going to get ready to work with them if you accept this. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I see all kinds of different stuff, and I'll tell you what I see. I'm like, I don't know where this guy came from or what he is. And a lot of times they'll protect you too. Okay, so this is crazy. I will never forget this. But the first time I did mediumship and I was using the ruins and with that type, because that's an older energy, right, guys? Like, that's not new age or whatever. This is old. I got scanned. I guess that's the best way you could say it. I got the deity or the energy that I was working with was testing me. Like, I could feel it going through to see if I was worthy of giving the message. And that's kind of like what happens on my table. They kind of like, I have to petition and be like, look, man, I'm just here to help your people. This is your person. And I'm just here to help it. And when they know I'm not meaning no harm or anything, they'll talk to me or they'll interact with me or give me pictures or things like that. And I'll never forget when I first started talking to the people that I was around, I was like, man, it really checked me to see if I could give that message. I've never had that happen before. And they had no damn idea what I was talking about. And I thought, man, I'm on a weird quest right now. But it happens a lot on my table because y'all are claimed. A lot of people are claimed by your ancestors, by your guardian angels, by your deities, whatever you work with, you're claimed by them. And if they're meant there to protect you, they push back on me a little bit. And the energy, I could feel it push back. So I think that's what happened with you, because I could see that something was coming even stronger. And it kind of pushes me back a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not here for that. And then I can continue working. I know that sounds weird. And until you're somebody on my table or something like that, you probably don't understand it. But if you're ever on my table and I have to describe it, that's what it is.
And everybody, you have to get an egg cleansing. They are wonderful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Actually, it's already started.
Oh yeah, Mimi said she's got dibs on firsties for that sacred journey.
I've never worked on Mimi or Missy, and I feel like crap. Like I come to their events all the time, and I never get to work on them, so I kind of feel bad about that. But these hands are for y'all one day, I promise.
They're ready to do one.
They're also usually running around like chickens with their heads cut off. So.
They are two of the busiest ladies ever. Love them dearly.
Same.
Yeah.
We just need to do like just do like a spirit mechanics day.
We just need to get together and do something like that, guys. Like, we always are passing by each other or got things going on. We got people and stuff like that. And normally when we come into town, because we do come from Virginia, we hit the ground running. We're just like trying to catch up as much as we can. So we do need to do that. We got some cool stuff getting ready to happen though. So hopefully, you know, we always love to come to Kentucky. Our little Amanda that comes with us, she always told me, she was like, you need to come to Kentucky, because in Virginia, we are still very strongly the Bible Belt. And anything we do, we have to put a lot of energy into, and a lot of promoting and things like that, which it's good. You got to promote and stuff. But it was always like pushing a rock uphill. And she told me, she was like, you got to come out here in Kentucky. They love this shit. And I was like, man, whatever. But it is. It's so much easier when you come out this way. People are just more spiritual. They're more accepting. Even though y'all are still in the South, there's something about Virginia that's still very closed and stuff. But even though I love them, don't get me wrong, and we're trudging our way, and we're really blessed to sell out a lot of things. But it is, y'all are more open in Kentucky, I believe. And I love y'all. I love Kentucky. I think that it's a beautiful state.
Well, you're invited to come to the shop whenever you want to come.
I always want to visit everybody's damn shop. When we come into town, we're coming in so hot and leaving so hot. But I feel bad because all of y'all got, I mean, a lot of y'all got some beautiful shops, and I never get time. So I'm going to have to set some time this next year, and just, we're going to try to slow down a little bit and enjoy the things. So maybe I'll have more time to like come and visit and things like that.
I think that works.
Yeah.
Renee a little bit ago said, hearing Misty talk, it's like talking with my granny.
Oh my God. That's so sweet. She said that. I'm gonna tell you, like, I need to get the shirt that says like Meemaw. I'll be your Meemaw.
We can have Tiff make you one.
Yeah,
I would love that. Oh my gosh, she did such a good job before. I was like floored. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. But yeah, most of the time out here, when guys are joking with us, we got a friend, and he says, listening to you and Ashley is like listening to banjos. That's what he said.
Yeah, man.
It's like dueling banjos, like that's what he says. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's so funny.
Well, you mentioned that y'all have a whole bunch coming up. What's some of the stuff y'all have coming up?
I don't think
Well,
I can
that you can talk about.
Yeah, that.
Okay, because I have one thing that's pretty cool that we got offered. We went to the Enchanted Ball. I don't know. Yeah, we saw y'all guys there.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. And when we left, somebody got in touch with us, and they were like, hey, let's do this thing. So that should be released like in the next couple of days, like a preview of that. I don't know if I was kind of looking at my phone to see if it, because it was supposed to drop this evening. So something we're kind of excited about. Me, Ashley, and Pat. So we're really, really excited about that. And then we got Scarefest coming up. We're going to Michigan Con. We've got some more classes. We got some seances. We got some cool stuff like that. And then we really get the opportunity to, a lot of people don't know, but there's an agent out there that occasionally sends me and Ashley to some really amazing colleges, and we get to read for the kids at college. And that is very fast and very intense. You imagine all that energy of all them college kids. So these universities we'll go for like 2 to 3 hours. And we will just nonstop read cards. And it's pretty cool. So we got a couple of those coming up, and just, enjoying the time that we have and stuff. So, there's so many things in the making with us, and we just always want to make sure we stay ahead of it. But this year I will share with y'all, and some of y'all know this already, because Stephen, we've had talks about this. Me and Ashley's mom got really, really sick, and we realized that, sometimes you got to slow down a little bit. So we're going to kind of slow down a little bit, but we're not going away. You might even see us more, but it's other things that we're doing. But we just got to make sure that we take care of our home life and stuff like that too, And I've kind of kept that under wraps a lot. Like some of the bad parts started last year, and it was really bad. Like I always tell people, I'm like, if I don't get back in touch with y'all, I'm so sorry, because it's really hard for me to stay on top of things sometimes. So just putting that out there and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
Night, Keith.
Not Keith.
Do you have anything else that you would like to ask us, or anything else you want to talk about?
I talk to y'all all the time, so I'm like, these people don't know what I talk about. we talk about all kinds of, when we get together, we chew the fat on all kinds of stuff. But I'm actually gonna have to jump off here. My dog is about beating down the door, y'all. Try to get into my bed here with me. But I want to thank y'all for having me. And God, I think we've been on here for quite a while, but it went by in a second. And I just love y'all to pieces. So just know that. And if you ever need us, you holler. And thank you for having us.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being a part of it.
So I'm gonna leave y'all. Bye. Love y'all.
Bye. Love
I'll
you.
stop at the water for October. And she's gone.
And
She's gone.
But
And she's gone.
yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed having Misty on here as much as we did. You know, it was very special having her accept a guest spot this month. We're going to jump off here ourselves, but letting you guys know, we're going to be on next week with the Forsyths, both of them. So we get Mom and Pop.
Yes.
So for those who have always been wondering what the joke is about, as far as my other parents, you're going to get to meet them. But Wes and Anita are affiliated with Scarefest. That's not what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be leaving Scarefest where it needs to be in October, and going to be talking about some really cool shit. So if you are interested in that, tune in. We're going to be hanging out with them just like we did Misty, just like we did Missy and Mandy last week. Again, remember the 18th, a bunch of cool stuff happening at the Central Kentucky Mystical Market. It's just the single day, but there's a lot of awesome stuff happening for back to school. And all you have to do is check out the website, centralkentuckymysticalmarket.com, Central KY mysticalmarket.com. Check it out. All the information should be there as to what they're going to be offering for kids in school and people in college. But anybody else got anything else to say or bring up?
I know we went over a lot of different stuff tonight, guys, especially stuff that we've kind of briefly talked about before, or, you know, just kind of lightly touched on. Those, once again, are just kind of how we personally feel. At the end of the day, it's a little bit closer to what we do on a day-to-day basis. So if you've ever been concerned about being a, quote, gray path worker, or maybe not being in the light, quote unquote, as much as you, quote, should be, don't beat yourself up. It's important not to. There's balance in all things, especially with spirituality. Yin and yang have both sides. Don't think that it makes you anything less or anybody less to be a gray path worker.
No, actually, that's the gray path is actually a better, because you're able to flip back and forth as you need to. Because I remember I had an event I was trying to work on somebody, and at the same time I'm trying to work, I've had somebody trying to step in, basically almost attack me while I'm trying to work. So you have to know what you're doing and how to throw your shields up and protect yourself at the same time, work on the person on the table.
Yep.
What do you think, Ray?
I think it's after 11 o'clock, guys. I know everybody's tired.
But that being said, you know, our producer is telling us to fucking quit. So
I love you. Let's go to bed.
Hey, y'all, we tired.
That being said, thank y'all for joining us. If you have any questions about anything, of course, you know where to reach us at this point. spiritmechanics.com here on Facebook, the Missing Elements.shop, or the Missing Elements Facebook page. You can get us all those places. We're on every social media known to fucking man. And of course, if you know us, you know us. You can get us on our personal Facebooks, things like that, if you would like to talk to us privately. We've got some other cool shit aside from the guests this month. I think next month in September we're going to start with our 300 classes. So for those of you that have been wondering what the fuck, there's been a lot of life that has happened and things have had to kind of push back a bit because we were going to try for those this month, and in all honesty, we needed a minute.
Yeah.
But we're going to jump into those in September, so be looking forward to those. I know for a fact that we've already got 2, possibly 3 on the books or ready to be on the books. And one of them is Mr. Tyree's, and one of them is Miss Patricia's. And we also have crystalline energy structures. So for those of you who are interested in advancing your color theory and your vibrational techniques, we're going to be going into crystal energies. So looking forward to those. But I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Sorry about the forecast. It's been rough. I'm going to say exactly what's been going on. My mother's been in the hospital and has not been doing good. So that's the reason why the forecast has been kind of hit and miss over the last month or so, is if I'm not, here in Lexington, then I'm at home trying to sleep. So letting you guys know what's up with that. I'm going to give my best to do the damn thing tomorrow. I promise you guys every week, it's probably not going to happen. If it does, I'll be just as shocked as you. But I do have every intention of getting it done over the weekend. So just thank you for your patience and with what's going on. And as we always end, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that those that have the power to change themselves have the power to change the world around themselves. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Love you. Good night. What? Screw